What's up, everyone? This is Elizabeth, the Minister of Beauty, and I share the Bible that is business, inspiration, beauty, life, and enjoyment. This is actually just going to be a quick video, and I normally don't talk about my personal life a whole lot, especially when it comes to family and personal situations and issues that I may be going through and experiencing. But the only reason why I'm really sharing just a portion of this part of my life is because, one, I want to let each and every one of you know that has been on this journey with me, on the journey of my social media, just sharing what I talk about as the Minister of Beauty, talking about business, talking about beauty, talking about life situations, and just trying to inspire in any way that I possibly can. Is I have been going through some things for the past several years, and I know that a lot of people have been, so I'm not alone in going through things. But if there's ever been times where it seemed like I was either inconsistent and I wasn't sharing content as much as I said I would or I planned to do so, it's because I've just been having some life transitions that I really wasn't expecting. And we all have been going through that in some way, being affected by the pandemic. And 2020 hit a lot of people hard. I'm definitely not complaining, so I don't want this to come across as a complaint or gripe or rant video, because it's not. It's just to share some of what I've been experiencing so that there can be some understanding. If you do look forward to my content, and I appreciate you looking forward to it, and it seems like I haven't been consistent, I have been consistent. I just haven't been able to produce and show the consistency as much as I plan to, because I have been dealing with transitional issues in my life. I thankfully haven't had anyone that's passed away during the pandemic or after the fact. And I know a lot of people have been touched by death, unfortunately, and I haven't. So I'm definitely grateful. I'm not complaining. But I've been married for 24 years. I actually celebrated my 24-year wedding anniversary on August 29th, and I'm grateful. I met my husband when we were in high school, and he is my best friend, even though, sometimes your best friend can get on your nerves sometimes. But, and I'm just being honest, but also joking, because I don't want this to come across as, again, I'm griping or complaining. But my husband is a veteran. He's also worked in war zones as a government contractor, as well as prior to that as someone who's in the military. And sometimes you take for granted when your loved one comes home and they're not maimed, they're not physically injured in any way, that all is well. And a lot of times with men, they don't share everything that they go through because of either pride or ego or whatever the male stuff is, where it just won't let you break down and share what you're going through, because you feel like you have to be strong and you can't show emotions and cry or whatever. But my husband, he has been diagnosed with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and he's seen a lot of things overseas, a lot of things that he has not shared with me, some things he has. And when the pandemic hit in 2020, actually the pandemic started in 2019, but we in the States, we really started to feel it and experience it in early 2020. When he was overseas at the time, he actually believes that he had COVID. He just never was diagnosed with it, maybe around November of 2019. And they were sent home. A lot of people where he was working was sent home to the States. And so he came back in March of 2020, and life has just been different since he's been here. I've had a lot of things that has changed, that I've experienced in my business, having to pivot and do things differently for the sake of keeping my business afloat. And thank God I'm still around and my business has survived the pandemic. But it's, in my opinion, only by the grace of God that I am still here, because there are businesses that were larger than mine that didn't make it through the pandemic. So I'm really grateful for that. But with him dealing with PTSD, I've been trying to learn how to live with someone who has been diagnosed with it and is still waiting for the assistance and the treatment that he deserves from the government, from the Veterans Administration. And so I've been going through therapy. I've been even going to church more than I normally did before, meaning in a physical building sometimes, because I've been going online for years. That's something that helps me. That's something that helps my spirit. That's something that helps my mind. And it's something that really helps to keep me going through the week. And being a business owner and dealing with so many different personalities, is like, for the sake of everyone else, I need that so that I can make sure that I am well and everyone else doesn't experience what I would say maybe the effects of what I have been dealing with in my own home. Because dealing with someone that has post-traumatic stress disorder is really not easy, and it's not something that a lot of people talk about. So being in a house and being used to being alone a lot, it's worked for me. I'm a huge introvert. I'm a loner. My husband loves to be around me. He loves to, and I'm grateful for that. I'm not complaining. Again, I'm not complaining. But when you've gotten used to like being in your own room in the bed by yourself, and now you're sharing the bed again, and things that you were doing prior to this person, pretty much living overseas and coming home for short periods of time for over 10 years, like you get used to that. So with him having to acclimate his life back to being in the States, being back home regularly, and me having to get acclimated to that, as well as dealing with the issues and the symptoms of him having PTSD and just a number of things that he is doing to just continue to feel okay, putting on some weight. And he's usually like a very fit person and working out and and those different things. It's just a number of different things, and I'm not going to go into details, but it has not been easy. So for myself, being in this relationship, in this marriage, and also just a number of different things that I've experienced since he's been home, like he and our son, they got into it in 2020. So our son, he moved out. My husband, he got into a fit of rage, and he just felt like our son was not being respectful, and not saying some of those things were not true, but pretty much now it's like, well, he misses our son and would love for him to come back, even though at this point I feel like he's too old to be moving back in our house. But the way things were handled, it would not have been that way had it not been for the PTSD. And that's just one example. And again, I'm not going into details. So when someone doesn't understand that somebody is dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, and they may handle things in a way because of it being a symptom of what they are going through, some people don't have any understanding, and they just don't really care, or they're not trying to have an understanding. So they just don't really want to have anything to do with you. And I can say that it's taken some time for our son to get in a place where he's forgiven his dad, and say, son, dad is just not well right now, and it's not his fault. I'm not saying that it's okay for him to speak to you in a certain way or treat you in a certain way, but I want you to try to come to some understanding so that you can forgive, and those areas are being mended, but it hasn't been easy. So wanting to be as productive as I plan to be in my brick and mortar business, in my online situations with my podcasts and my YouTube channels and all of the different things when it comes to sharing content, creating content, and just being an active, creative, artistic person, and sometimes just feeling frustrated because I don't really feel like I've been able to do things the way that I've wanted to do it because my focus has been on these other areas. It has been a bit tough. So I've been doing the best with what I have to be as productive as I would like to be so that I could get some sense of normalcy, because even with me at this point creating content now for my YouTube channels and for my podcast, it has been some sense of therapy for me, even though I am seeing a therapist and getting help to release my emotions and get actionable steps on how to handle those in a productive and a healthy way, versus how sometimes I'm used to doing, bottling everything up inside of me and not dealing with it, which isn't healthy, because at some point it's like that bottle you shake up. At some point it's going to like bust out and explode, and then somebody's eye might get knocked out okay, because the cork flew out or the top of the bottle flew off, and you don't want that. So it hasn't been easy the past few years, especially with some other things that I experienced in business prior to that. So I would say, to be honest with you, the past 4 years have been some of the hardest years in my life. So it is truly by the grace of God that I am still standing and I am still here. And like someone says, I've heard before, and I stand by it, you may be going through some things, but the key point is to go through. Don't just stand still and stay there, getting stuck. So I'm grateful that even though I've been going through a number of things, I'm still going through, I'm moving, and storms don't last forever. So I've been going through a bit of a storm, but I'm grateful. Things could be worse, and I'm really grateful that it's not as bad as it could be, and it's not as long as it could have been. And I believe that things are getting better. I'm starting to see the light of day, and I've had a number of grace moments that have occurred for me through all of the obstacles and the ups and downs that I've experienced in the past 4 years or so. Those grace moments that have really just helped me to keep my faith high and knowing that everything is going to work out for my good. So I just really wanted to just share a little bit of what I've been going through in my journey, and to say that I really appreciate you being here on this journey with me. I appreciate you not judging me. I appreciate you understanding some sense of who I am, and knowing that I'm going to try to do the best that I can to be as present and as consistent as I possibly can, in spite of all of the things that I'm going through. I may be sharing some different things that I hadn't intended on sharing prior to these life journey situations that I've been going through. I'm getting back on my fitness journey, which isn't a journey, it's a lifestyle. So I'm getting back into my fitness lifestyle. I honestly don't enjoy working out, but I know that it is essential for my health. So I'm getting back into that now. I just had my 44th birthday last month. So in August the 25th, I turned 44 years old. So I don't thankfully look my age. I'm just being honest. I don't look like all that I've been through. That's another old saying, because all of the things that I've gone through, it's definitely an act of God and great knowledge of, myself being a licensed esthetician and using the right ingredients and products and using my skincare line. And you can support me by purchasing some products and supporting your own skin, that I don't look like all that I've been through. Seriously. But I have to definitely take into account that I am not 24 anymore. I am 44. So I have to be more cognizant about my health, being fit, and so I'm getting back into that. So I may share some of that content with you that is me just peeling some more of the layers away, because I honestly don't ever feel comfortable working out in front of other people. So to show you that side of myself is a part of me being more open and vulnerable. So I may be sharing some of that content with you all here, and just letting you know how I get it in when I do get those workouts in, because it's definitely not perfect. And I believe that that will help some people as well, so that you will know that it doesn't have to look perfect, and you don't have to look perfect or be perfect in order to perfect those things in your life that concern you. And some of the ways to do that is by working out. So, and being consistent with it. So I just wanted to share a little bit of this with you guys, living with and learning more about PTSD and how it affects not only your loved ones that have been diagnosed with it, but how it affects me as well, has been a major eye-opener. And it's allowed me also to give myself more grace, because there were so many times where I beat myself up and said, I could have done this, I should have done that. And when I look at it, it's like there was no way I would have been able to have gotten those things done because of X, Y, and Z, as well as A, B, and C, and those different issues and matters that were coming up that were unplanned. And life is the unplanned. Life isn't the things that we plan. Life is usually the things that we don't plan, and just getting through those things that we didn't plan that pop up and happen in our lives. So I love the person. I may not love what they are going through and how it has been affecting him physically, mentally, spiritually, as well as how it has been affecting me. But it is a life journey that I am grateful to God that He is helping me to get through it, because if it were not for the faith that I had in God, I honestly couldn't tell you guys that I would still be here. There are many people that give up on others because of how it affects them. And I'm not saying that that has ever been a thought for me to do it, but I can definitely say, like I said, I'm not sharing everything that I've experienced with this journey, but I can understand the thoughts of someone that were wondering, well, maybe this is my sign to exit, because it has not been easy. But I am still here. We're working through it. I believe that things will get better. And, you know, in the meantime, we're doing what we need to do in order to get to the other side of this situation. I don't know if anyone ever completely recovers from PTSD, but it's a whole different beast. And I'm learning a lot more about it. So I'm getting the help that I need. He's trying. I can't force someone to do the things that would be helpful to them, but I'm definitely encouraging. I am definitely trying my best, and I'm grateful that he's made the steps towards trying to get some assistance from the VA, but it's the government, federal government, and they're slow. They don't move, immediately on things. And honestly, I mean, I know they don't really care. So that's the other thing too. But I could go on and on for days talking about that, and I won't. So I'm just going to end it here. So I really just wanted to say thank you all for understanding me, supporting me here on the platform. I really do appreciate it, guys, and just allowing me to share a little bit of my journey and what I have been experiencing, and also understanding me for not going into specifics, because even though I am experiencing it along with my husband, it's not my diagnosis, so it's not my story to share. So that's one of the reasons why, for out of respect, and I don't share a lot of content or images about my relationship or my marriage. I could, but I won't because I do believe that there's some space where you need to keep things sacred, as sacred as possible, and private. And because this is just a part of my real life and it affects me, that is the only reason why I'm really sharing it here, and hopefully it'll help you to understand me a little bit more. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for liking the videos, subscribing to the channel, Leave a comment in the comment section for me. Let me know if you have any questions, anything that I can answer, I will try to do. And I am Elizabeth, the Minister of Beauty, and I share the Bible. That's business, inspiration, beauty, life, and enjoyment. So this is just a little bit about my life journey that I'm sharing with you all. So thank you so much. And until the next time, I really hope and pray you all have an amazingly blessed and beautiful day.